So when we foreigners look at the word gaijin, we study it, we learn about it, and we're like, wait a second, gaikokujin, so outsider country person, then we have this image, at least I do, and I think a lot of people do, of like Japan's in the middle and everything else is outside. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Gaikokujin wa dame na kotoba eigo. We're the hosts. My name's MJ.
My name is Adam.
And today, everyone, we got a good topic for you. Something I think everyone's going to get a little good information out of. But before that, hey, welcome to the MJ and Adam show. If you're new here, we're two dudes who are good friends living in Japan for more than 10 years. And we want to help everyone focus in on their English and kind of give you a place where you can listen and learn a little something. Get a conversation going, maybe.
Yeah.
So if you like that, subscribe to the channel. If you want to go above and beyond, you're a big fan, you can become a member of the YouTube channel by donating a little bit every month. Go down, check it out, see if it looks good. We got some cool things for you right there. All right, Adam. So are you ready for this episode?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Here we go. The theme, everyone, is why you shouldn't say gaijin.
Don't call me gaijin.
All right, everyone. So me and Adam live in Japan, and we are, in fact, gaijin, gaikokujin. All right. But it's a very interesting word because when someone who is a gaijin learns the kanji, the origin, what the meaning is, we can tend to feel a little offended from this word. Gaijin, gai is the kanji for outside.
Outside, right.
Jin is person. So you're an outside person. Like you feel like you're being segregated. You're being outed. You're being pushed away because you are an outside person.
You don't belong. You don't fit in.
I mean, all kanji, every word has a special meaning. It's derived from something.
Right.
So there's deep meanings where in English, here and there, you can find those if you really look up the history of these words, wherever they came from. But as English speakers, we really don't look at that. We don't think about that at all. But in Japanese, if you have kanji, then you can take those kanji apart and say oh, there's meaning behind each one. So then you get to gaijin, gaikokujin. It's like, all right, outside country person. It's like, man, okay, true, but why do you got to do me like that?
Right. And sometimes it's a blanket word describing all people who look different in Japan or whose parents come from a different country without even understanding or knowing whether or not they're born here. Sometimes for me personally, I feel and I could be wrong, but sometimes gaijin is used just because you don't look Japanese or your name isn't Japanese for some people. If a person whose parents are 100% from another country, but the child is born in Japan, raised in Japan.
Yeah.
All they know is Japan. Only thing different from them and a Japanese person is the fact that their parents weren't born in Japan and they don't have descendants who are Japanese. That person is still looked as a gaijin. Gaikokujin,
I have a friend who is exactly that scenario, that what you just described.
Yeah.
They have one parent from England and the other from New Zealand.
Okay.
They moved to Japan.
Yeah.
And they had kids, 3 kids. These 3 kids are first generation Japanese, but blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right.
Fully the epitome of the image of gaijin here in Japan.
Right. Yeah.
And they grew up here. So their Japanese is kampeki. They are so fluent.
Right.
And reading, writing, no problem. Even the way that they conduct themselves. Our last episode, we were talking about schools. They go to a Japanese school. Yeah. They went through the same regimen.
Right.
And system of everyone in Japan. So they are Japanese. So this person that I know, this friend of mine, she is Japanese, but she has this problem, like you're saying, where everyone in Japan sees her right away and is like, gaikokujin. And every time she meets a new person in Japan, she has to go through the same, sugoi nihongo jouzu da ne.
Yeah.
Every time for the rest of her life, if she decides to stay in Japan.
Right. Where are you from?
Be. Yeah.
I'm from Japan. No, where are you from? I'm from Japan. I was born here.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Now, just to explain to everyone, that is a pretty specific and special lifestyle or case. There you go. Thank you. It's a special case. Not so common. But it's going to happen. So let's be careful if that happens with anyone, if you come into contact with someone like that.
Right.
But for the most part, you're probably going to be correct, probably 90% of the time, that this gaikokujin is from an outside country.
Right.
Now, I'm sure Japanese people, everyone watching, if you're Japanese, you don't think of it as anything bad. It's like, okay, yeah, the kanji means outside person, but it's like, that's just the word. We don't think much about it.
Right. Yeah.
But as someone who is learning Japanese, we take a lot of time to understand reasons and rules of languages. So especially everyone who's learning English, I'm sure there's probably plenty of times where it's like, oh, why is it like that? What's the rule of using this word or that word?
Right. Yeah.
Where we're like, oh, I don't know. That's just how we do it. You know? But then it's only when someone like points it out and it's like, oh, wow, it's a good, why do we park in a driveway, but we drive on a parkway? So when we foreigners look at the word gaijin, we study it, we learn about it, and we're like, wait a second, gaikokujin, so outsider country person, then we have this image, at least I do, and I think a lot of people do, of like Japan's in the middle and everything else is outside. There's almost like a feeling of less importance of outside.
I see. For me, it's a little bit different. I feel like I'll never be able to belong in Japan. No matter how long I live here, what effort I put in, language, lifestyle, that saying itself, and just by who it's attached to, like, you'll never be able to be accepted. You can't shake it, right?
Right. You are forever gaijin.
An outsider, you know?
Yeah, yes, pretty much. As a harsh translation, you're an outsider.
Right.
And it's sad to hear stuff like that because you will never be accepted, no matter how hard you try.
Right.
You cannot change the way you look. Not saying like we want to change the way we look.
No, of course not.
Just being able to be accepted as a human.
A human.
Gaikokujin desu ka?
One of the guys.
I am a human just like you. That's one thing I really don't like about using those words. It's like it's a wall.
It's a wall. Created. Yeah, it's making that distinction between you are not. Yeah, you don't belong here. So I can say like, oh, you're not from here. Okay,
right.
I understand. Like, let's make this clear right now. You don't belong. Right.
Yeah,
you know. And sometimes, you've heard my stories in the past where because you're from another country, you're an outsider, you're refused, you're declined some kinds of services. And it's just like, okay, I see. I don't belong here. And I think people in our age group or even younger who come with high hopes to Japan to like start a life and maybe even grow a family, they'll look at these things and consider these things and think whether or not Japan is the place for them to continue.
Yes.
Like, it's a great country to live, but if I'm never going to be accepted, what's the point?
Right.
Why
no
put in
how
the
hard
effort
I try
to learning the culture?
Right.
When I'm never going to be accepted. Some people think that way. So
I definitely think so. Yeah. I think there's a few people who decide to stay for a long time. I mean, just being able to accepting the fact that you're never going to be 100% accepted and just be happy with the people that do accept you.
Yeah.
Which could be close friends, family. Of course, there are plenty of people like strangers that you'll meet that will look past it. Let me dude, in our past channel, when we were talking about Japanese idols, and I was telling you about that one time I was in a group, like the first kind of show I went to, and there was like people talking after it. Like, I was just so surprised how many people came up to me and did not think about like, how should I approach this person, this gaijin? They just started speaking all in Japanese and were able to have a conversation. That was the only time, and I think I've told this to you before, that was the only time that I felt accepted.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you did tell Japan. Me. I remember that.
And I was moved. And that's almost like what made me like want to dive in and like get into the idol culture even more, because of that acceptance that I felt
right
within the community.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. I was so excited and so happy.
But think like, just take that little experience and then not MJ, not you experiencing it, but another person. Okay. How much better would the feeling of omotenashi be if everyone who came here was able to feel accepted and not looked at like, oh, there's the gaijin over there. Yeah. Oh, like he's funny because he's a gaijin, you know? Yeah.
He's cool because he's a
gaijin. I want to be your friend because you're a gaijin.
Yes, that happens. And I think so. There was a lot of great points you mentioned right there, but I do want to explain to everyone that I believe if you are a tourist visiting Japan, you're not going to see any of that.
True.
Everything's going to be honky-dory, awesome. You leave, you go back to your country, be like, Japan was the best ever, the nicest people, delicious food, not beautiful dirty,
scenery, like clean.
Yeah. Like everything's A+.
Right.
But once you start living here more and you start learning about different things a little deeper, I think that's when this kind of thinking comes up where you're like, wait a second, maybe everything isn't all peaches and cream all the time, which, you know, every country
has that.
Every country is going to have, you know, bad points.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is definitely the looks.
It's one of the main things. It's one of the things that makes us stick out the most, I believe, because I mean just look at me. Just look at just look at us. Look at us. You see this every week, every day if you like, and we can't get past it. But it's also because Japan has this long history of being closed off from the rest of the world, secluded, and more people from other countries outside of Japan are coming to Japan to live, to work, to experience the culture. So differences, little by little, and people, different kinds of people, different cultures starting to move to Japan. But it's like, everybody's still Japanese.
Oh man. So actually, to let everyone know, this kind of topic or idea sparked up from a comment that we had on one of our recent videos.
Yeah.
And they were asking, the word foreigner, I've heard, is kind of a rude word to use. So what else can I say instead of foreigner?
Try to get rid of generic labels and try to get to know people before you apply a generic label.
Exactly.
And group them into bunches.
Yeah.
We're not
I'm
all
on the same wavelength as you, dude, because I was thinking about that question. Yeah. How would you answer? What is another word you can use instead of foreigner? And I was just like, just don't say anything.
Yeah. Like, just don't say anything.
Just don't try to separate as like, oh, foreigner and a local of the country. Like,
right.
It doesn't need to be used. If you're talking with a friend about someone else who is from outside of the country, then
possibly because you don't know the person. They could be from Japan, right?
But definitely don't use it to that person when you're talking to them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the biggest like no, and can come off as being rude.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's it for this episode, everyone. If you like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you've been thinking about becoming a member, we have different, perks, cool things that you can get when you sign up. New things in the works, websites being created, new things, lessons. Be on the lookout. Follow us on SNS. What kind of SNS we got, Adam?
Well, we got Instagram, where we spend most of our time. We got TikTok, where we spend almost zero time at all. That's going to be my goal for the rest of this year. We got Twitter and Facebook as well. So you can check out any one of those channels and message us. And also remember that April is the month of the Ego Everyday Challenge. So if you want to join this challenge, post what you're doing in English on any of these channels and hashtag Ego Everyday. Ego Everyday.
Use a hashtag.
Use that hashtag.
That's it, everyone. We'll see you on the next step.